All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a massive financial heist. And no, this isn't just some boring tax issue you'd skip over in the news. This is the story of how hundreds of crores were systematically stolen right from the public treasury. So, yeah, let's follow the money. I mean, it's a wild question, right? Sounds like something straight out of a movie. But this is exactly what we're going to break down. How does a scam this huge actually work? And, the most important question, who ends up paying the price for all this? Just look at that number, 500 crore. Let that really sink in for a second. This isn't just some abstract figure on a balance sheet. This is real money. Money that was supposed to build our communities, our roads, our hospitals, and it was just siphoned away, taken from all of us. And that is the absolute key here. It's so easy to hear tax fraud and think, oh, that's just some white-collar thing, it doesn't affect me. But that's not what this is. When the state treasury gets hit like this, the real victims are the citizens, you and me. This was theft, period. So the big question is, how on earth do they pull it off? Let's deconstruct this whole scam and, unmask these so-called ghost firms that were right at the center of it all. Okay, so the entire heist uses a totally legitimate part of the tax system called the input tax credit, or ITC. The simplest way to think about it is like a refund for businesses. They get back the tax they've already paid on their supplies. It's a good system designed to help honest businesses. But in this case, that helpful tool became the scammer's weapon of choice. The whole scheme, really, it just boils down to these three simple steps. First, they create this whole web of fake companies, ghost companies that only existed on paper. Step 2, these ghost companies start issuing fake invoices to each other for business deals that never, ever happened. And finally, step 3, they use those fake invoices to claim real cash refunds, that input tax credit, from the government. They were literally getting paid for doing absolutely nothing. One analysis put it perfectly. This wasn't just some clever crime. It was a monumental failure of financial oversight and a sign of deep-seated corruption. And that quote, that just hits the nail on the head. This wasn't just about finding a loophole. The system itself was seriously broken. So you have to wonder, how did this happen on such a massive scale? Well, it wasn't a one-time slip-up. It points to some really critical weaknesses in the system. The GST department just wasn't properly verifying new companies. There was a huge lack of intelligence gathering, no real enforcement, and because of that, these fake companies were able to operate completely unchecked for a very, very long time. Okay, so we get how they did it, but let's get to the most important part of this whole story, the real price of this fraud, and why this should matter to every single one of us. Let me be absolutely clear. That 500 crore, that was your money. It was meant for your schools, your hospitals, your roads. It was an investment in our communities that was stolen before it ever had a chance to do any good. Just look at the contrast here. It's pretty stark. On one side, you've got everything that money could have funded, all the essential services we rely on. And on the other side, you've got the grim reality. The money was plundered by fake companies, all because of corruption and a massive failure of oversight. And the damage goes so much deeper than just the stolen cash. This kind of stuff, it destroys public trust in our institutions. It scares off real investors who don't want to play in a rigged game. And guess what? When there's a shortfall, who do you think has to make up for it? Honest taxpayers. The burden on all of us just gets heavier. Now, it's really easy to hear all this and feel completely powerless. I get it. But we're not. So let's talk about the playbook for citizens. What we can actually do to demand accountability and fight back. These are real, concrete things we can do. We can demand a serious, independent investigation, one that's not tangled up in politics. We can push for something like a public dashboard to track GST collections so we can all see where the money is going. We can use our voices online to ask tough questions of our officials and, maybe most importantly, demand total transparency. Look, understanding how heist like this happened is the first critical step. But knowledge isn't enough, right? The next, most important step is action. It's about turning what we know into a real demand for change. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. When a system that's supposed to serve all of us fails this badly, who really has the power and the responsibility to fix it? The answer, when you really think about it, is us.